Good morning, everyone. This is Coffee and Headlines, and it's Monday, August 31. And the reason I feel startled and I look startled is because I just saw an awesome comment while the intro was rolling. And I'm going to get back to that awesome comment in a second. Before we go there, good morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 31st. It's the last day of the month. September starts tomorrow, and it starts with all kinds of important Mexico-related chingaderas that we need to talk about, but not yet. First of all, welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is our daily get-together live on Facebook every single day of the week. No breaks. We don't care. 10:30 in the morning, where we get together and talk about headlines, stories, suggestions, ideas, news that make our lives better as an English-speaking community here in Puerto Vallarta. Local English-speaking community, I should have said. It is always wonderful to see many, many friends that join us every single day or very frequently. But it's also nice to see new people that join us every single day. There's always somebody new. So if you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and we'd love to know that you're new. You can let us know by writing the word new in your comment so that we can give you a proper welcome. Also, if you have a specific comment that you want to share with everyone or that you'd like for me or us to address during the show, please add the letter Q to the beginning of your comment, and we will try our best to get to them during the broadcast, and if not, shortly thereafter. Today, I'm going to have my Truman Show moment because I want to show you this fabulous new mug that I'm breaking it just now. It came from my dear friends Geoff and Ricardo from Apaches. So this is my Truman moment. Have your morning coffee on an Apache's mug. Enough of that. Anyhow, look at all the wonderful people that are here, people that we know and people that we're getting to know better. This is so truly wonderful. Terry, yes, everybody's talking about the rain this morning, but let me find this amazing comment that came. Oh, I can bring back my comments down here. Oh, hold on just a second. Well, let me bring back my comment window by sharing with you this priceless gem that came from Trucha Danzante this morning. Meka leka hai, meka hai ni ho. If you don't know what this means, you've missed out. And Trucha Danzante, let me tell you, if I ever meet you, I will hug you and I will buy you a coffee or buy you a cocktail. Meka leka hai, meka hai ni ho comes from Pee-wee's Playhouse, this amazing animated series that Pee-wee Herman used to do. I remember watching this in college. Sometimes I was not high, and sometimes I was very high. And to this date, I think Pee-wee's Playhouse is available on Netflix. And what is amazing about this series is that even though it was for children, it was campy and it was funny and it was creative. It had animation. It had great characters. It had vintage cartoons. I mean, it was just the perfect early morning. I forget if it was a Saturday thing or a Sunday thing, but it was just wonderful. So, Trucha, you sent me through memory lane, and I will love you for the entire day. Thank you very much for that comment. It totally made me like lose my rhythm this morning. That was wonderful. It's great to see folks from Puerto Vallarta like Jill. Good morning. But it's also great to see people from far away. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Karen from Minnesota. Good morning, Michal. You haven't missed anything because you're always here with us, so don't worry about it. And the reruns are around. Dallas is in the house. Good morning, Julie. All kinds of wonderful friends. This is so wonderful. Good morning from Soggy, Emiliano Zapata. Yes, absolutely. Last night was really something, and we have some photographs to share. Eric is now back in Seattle. We'll keep you in touch, Eric, through Coffee and Headlines, and we look forward to your return sometime in the future. And yes, we have a lot of comments again from the rain. This is so wonderful. Today is Monday. We're going to, of course, look at COVID-19 numbers from our governor. As you know, he releases these numbers every Sunday afternoon just to see what's going on. We're also going to look at the aftermath of all these rains, other important news that are going on in Mexico coming September. And what else do we have in store for you today? Oh, with the hologram. Remember the hologram that you had to get so that you could reopen your business? Well, guess what? Oh, look, Mecha Leka High fans. I love it. I love it. Yes, we love Pee Wee Herman. We love Pee Wee Herman. More comments about Pee Wee. I tell you guys, if you have not seen Pee Wee's Playhouse, just look for it. I am almost sure it is. It is on Netflix. And no, you don't have to be high as a kite to enjoy it. It is really, really, really wonderful. Anyhow, I think we're all gathered here. We have more than 200 people watching, 211. It's always great to see a bunch of people joining us. So let's just dive into important news that you might be able to use. Okay, as we know, it is Monday, and we report on Governor Enrique Alfaro's latest indicators for COVID-19. This is the fifth week that we avoid the pushing of the famous emergency button. And of course, the updates that the mayor releases are starting to feel more and more like, you're doing okay, keep up the good work. And I don't mean to minimize the importance of the pandemic, but it's not like in the early days. In the early days, any small change seemed significant, and there was always like big groundbreaking news. Not anymore. So let's just dive into it. Oh gosh, of course I remember that he was arrested for indecent exposure. Poor Pee Wee. We all make stupid mistakes. Like I made a stupid mistake and I killed my car. Pee Wee Herman decided to play funny in a movie theater. You know, we all do stuff like that. We need to be forgiven. Anyhow, back to the news. Enrique Alfaro, our governor, says these are the indicators for Jalisco this week, obviously the COVID-19 indicators. We're doing good, but this is just a reminder that we cannot drop our guard. We went from 779 hospital beds to 715, and that is great news. But we increased the number of active cases from 306 to 326. In the national statistics, we continue to be the third state with the least number of accumulated cases, and we went from the seventh place to the sixth place with as the state with the lowest number of morbidity in the country. But in the number of active cases, even though that we continue to be under the national average, we increased from 13th place to 15th place. You know how to take care of yourself and those around you. You know that our medical staff is at the limit of their capacities for several months. Your individual responsibility shows up every single week, and it is fundamental to continue with the economic reactivation. Let us avoid the emergency button. Those are the words from our governor, which sound, for better or worse, a lot like last week's words. So here are the two charts. This is the chart for this week. This would be a comparison with last week's number. As the governor stated, last week we had 779 beds occupied, and that went down to 715. So it went from 28.5 to 26.1%. And here's where we see that the number of active cases went from 306.7 to 326.2. So we continue to be under the numbers that would make the government trigger this emergency button, and hopefully that will continue to be the trend. These are the national charts that show indeed that Jalisco is the third lowest state with accumulated cases. We see that the morbidity case continues to be low. Of course, the highest one is in Mexico City. And the number of active cases, that this is where we show a little higher, but we're still under this countrywide average. And of course, Baja California Sur continues to be the state that is most battered with active cases at the present time. Just as a reminder, the national stoplight was released late last week. And as you can see, there are 10 states in the yellow, no states in the green just yet. A large number of states are in the orange, and only Colima, south of Jalisco, is in the red. So let me get back to the big old me to see if you have any specific questions or concerns about these numbers. I saw a couple of questions. One here: does tourism from the U.S. seem to be increasing or staying about the same at this point? I would like to think that it is increasing, and we're going to show that in a news item that follows in a little while that reflects the fact that the number of passengers in the airport is increasing. I do see more people out and about. I don't know if you have a different perception, those of you that are like myself here in Puerto Vallarta. And I don't see any other specific questions, so let me continue with some of these headlines that have to do with COVID and so forth and so on. Let's see, headlines, cue the headlines, there we go. Despite the fact that things are looking better here in Puerto Vallarta, the downtown area and the Malecón continue to be restricted despite the fact that there is an increase in tourism. Now, this article mentions specifically national tourism, but I have another headline that is coming up that shows that there's an increase of tourism in the airport, which could be national and international. Remember the hologram sticker that you were supposed to get to be able to reopen your business? Well, they are not using them anymore. So if you're still waiting for your hologram to reopen, or maybe you've opened, but you're still waiting for the sticker to arrive, they're not making stickers anymore. There's this article that comes from Vallarta Independiente that shows that the requisite sticker turned out to be nothing more and nothing less than a useless bureaucratic procedure. That's how it was described. It was obligatory during almost 3 months, but the president of the Coparmex Jalisco, this would be the National Chamber of Businesses, says that this is the reason why, as of late, authorities seem to be relaxing their guidelines or their restrictiveness as to whether you have your sticker or not. Of course, we know it's not so much about having the sticker or not. It's just about how responsible you are to yourself, your employees, and your customers when you're opening your business. And of course, the protocols are still online if you wish to check the protocols for what guidelines you should be using for your business when you open. I saw a question go by. Well, I'll get to the questions in a second. Let me finish with this segment. Moving on to the weather, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the weather, especially after all that rain. A couple of days ago, I mentioned to you that it was 10 years ago that the rain coming down from the mountains on the rivers, or rather the water coming down on the rivers from the mountains, was so high that one of the two bridges that connect us with Nayarit, with Nuevo Vallarta and so forth, fell down. The current was that strong that it fell down. And if you were not here, or you have forgotten what that looked like, just take a look at this graphic. Imagine, and there were cars that were caught in the middle of this. I don't remember the exact story, but apparently there was a taxi cab that was right in the middle of the bridge, and the bridge fell down, and there goes the taxi cab. And I do believe that the people or the person in the taxi cab survived. Again, I'm not remembering this, but this actually happened. We went through 6 months or so while this bridge was being rebuilt, in which crossing from Jalisco to Nayarit was a time-consuming nightmare for anybody wanting to do business that involved going from one state to the other. Thank God it hasn't been that bad, but we did have some major damage going on yesterday. We reported a landslide on the highway to San Sebastián del Oeste. Well, there was a second one, and as you can see from this image, this is much more considerable than the first one. I don't know if the highway is presently blocked, but if you have any business to take care of going up the highway to San Sebastián and Mascota and so forth, you may want to make sure ahead of time that you can actually get through, because when these landslides are really nasty, it takes some time for construction crews to remove all the debris. Let's see. We also have reports of other landslides that happen on the federal highway going south, the Mismaloya highway, around El Colorado. which is between here and Boca de Tomatlan, I believe. This doesn't look like a major landslide, so hopefully they were able to contain it and repair the highway quickly. And even though there were no major issues in Puerto Vallarta with the increased number of the increased current in our rivers, we see photographs like this one by Noticias PB, and they want to make sure that you know that it's their photograph because they have watermarked the shit out of it. That there were some pretty scary situations going on around. Thank God, nothing major, but we have some flooding going on here and there. There you go. Oh, that looks so painfully familiar because that's how I killed my car. And, you know, there was just activity going on throughout the state, and rather throughout the city as far as all that rain that we got last night. I was out of my house and I had to wait for a while to be able to get an Uber to be able to come home. Looking at this national live traffic business going on, we can see that there's going to be a fair amount of rain and thunder, primarily north of Puerto Vallarta. We don't see any major systems building south of us just yet, but we're going to keep track of all this stuff as we continue along the week. Now, this is the headline that I wanted to show. This article from Vallarta Opina tells us that Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacifico, which is a company that manages all the airports in the region, has shown an increase in passengers, both national and international passengers, and that continues to be a trend. Along those lines, Interjet, one of the national airlines, announced the reactivation of a number of routes and the aperture of the opening of new routes during the month of September. No specific routes that have to do with Puerto Vallarta are announced, but a number of flights departing from Guadalajara are definitely featured here. So this is good news as far as regional connectivity is concerned. And this is pretty much what we have as far as, oh, that's not true. We have more formal headlines, but let me take a quick look at your comments and questions. Boom, bing, bam, bam, boom, bam, bing, bing, bing. Hold on. Oh my God, your comments are flying fast and furious. This is wonderful. Pee-wee comments, we've gone through those. Coffee and headlines merchandise. Seriously, guys. How funny. No questions. Oh, this is good. Well, we love questions, but if there's no questions, let us continue with more headlines. And this has to do with all these reforms that are going on in Mexico right now in terms of how we eat and how we label things. Here is what the second phase of reforms is going to look like. Right now, the authorities seem to be going full force against junk food like potato chips and diet sodas and carbonated beverages. But there are a lot of products, particularly in the dairy section, cheeses, that are labeled as, for example, they might say Gouda type cheese. And the legislation there that is being proposed for next year is to remove the word type and just say that it is imitation cheese. It is not the real Gouda thing. It is just an imitation Gouda cheese. So there's a number of cheeses that are going to be affected by this guideline. The question, of course, becomes if you are a cheese consumer, whether you would choose to buy the same Gouda cheese that you've been buying if the labels switch from Gouda type cheese to Gouda imitation cheese. And of course, that is something that is not going to affect us just yet, but it'll be interesting how the back and forth between the dairy industry and the government guidelines, the health guidelines, wrestle against each other with, of course, consumers in the middle. Tomorrow is September 1st, and September 1st is traditionally the day of the year in which the president of Mexico delivers his Informe de Gobierno, or the English equivalent State of the Union address. It is anticipated that in tomorrow's State of the Union address, or Informe Presidencial, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is going to discuss 4 pivotal large projects that he wants to tackle during this administration. One being the new Felipe Ángeles International Airport outside of Mexico City. Number 2, the new refinery Dos Bocas, which I believe is in the state of Chiapas. I'm not entirely certain about that. The Maya train, which we've talked about in the past, would be the third one. And the fourth one is the other train, the transcontinental train that goes from the state of Veracruz to the Pacific Ocean. So these are the 4 big projects that the government wants to tackle. And we'll have to wait to see what the State of the Union address looks like tomorrow. And of course, we'll come back with some talking points so that you can feel involved in what you're talking about. Everybody knows that the only reason why I'm talking about dairy is because this is the way I summon my dear friend Candace Shaw. All you have to do is talk about meat, or talk about dairy, or talk about styrofoam, and I love you, Candace. I love you because you're always here to remind us how to eat better and how to protect our planet. It's so wonderful because all I have to do now to invoke Candace is just go, steak and cheese, steak and cheese, steak and cheese, and poof, she comes out of nowhere. Love you, Candace. I really do. If you don't know Candace Shaw, she is a good friend of this community. She and her sister, Candace and her sister, English lessons for me, thank you. They work on all kinds of community-based projects. Her sister, Cassandra, has a wonderful jewelry shop on Basilio Vadillo, and it is a great place to go shopping for fabulous silver chingaderas and other wonderful things. Let's take a look at comments. Good morning, Sandy Fish from Lurgan Beach, Ontario. It's great to see you. The real Gouda is listening from... I don't know, Gouda Gabor. I don't know. You may be really, really happy to learn that, we are increasingly more aware of the difference between you, the real deal, and fake Gouda. Although between us girls, I don't know that I would want to eat you. I'd rather just love you and hug you the way you are. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you come back to Puerto Vallarta soon. Oh my God, another great animation. Cheese! Yes, Wallace and Gromit. They are an amazing project. Stop animation, which is just wonderful. Thank you for that memory, Thomas. That is absolutely wonderful. Have I heard anything about completion of the highway from Guadalajara? Not lately. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador made promises about it again when he was visiting the region not even a month ago. But between that and the actual, okay, hop on your car and let's go ride the highway, I haven't seen any headlines, and hopefully we will see some headlines at some point. Is the airport on hold due to the fossil fines? Well, I don't know that it is specifically on hold, but I do know that finding archaeology richness or things, remnants, whatever you call them, in that region of Mexico is next to inevitable, because it was an area that was very prolific in terms of population, pre-Hispanic population. So I don't know exactly, Claude, if it is on hold, if they're moving forward with it. I do know that the one big airport that was canceled when Andrés Manuel López Obrador took office as president of Mexico, there are plans to turn that into a large ecologic park, which will be quite interesting because they had already laid down concrete over the whole freaking thing, and that was a lot of concrete. And we'll keep an eye on that also as we move forward. Great testament about Candace and Cassandra. They're huge rescuers here in town. If you're looking to adopt a kitty cat or a dog, they are fine people to connect with. And speaking of fine, let us move on to fine leisure headlines. And here we are. The weather indeed. It's 26 degrees Celsius, feels like 30. It is 78 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a 23% chance of precipitation, so do expect that we're going to continue to have more rain today. Let's take a quick look at the weather, at the forecast, but not before realizing or acknowledging that humidity is at 100%. Let's see. We see that we're going to have heavy rain and humidity throughout the day, so watch out. Bring out your not your socks, your sandals. If you're going to be walking out in the rain, don't get caught out there with fancy shoes. Tomorrow, it's going to be humid and mostly cloudy through the day. And Wednesday, it's going to continue to be humid throughout the day. And that's what we have for the weather. We do have a couple of leisurely headlines that I wish to share with you, if I may. The first one comes from Excelsior, and Excelsior tells us that despite everything that's going on, despite the fact that Nayarit cannot even open their beaches yet, 2 new luxury hotels will be opening in Riviera Nayarit in the near future. We learned about this through our friend Richard Sarkin of Riviera Nayarit. We are going to have a new one and only Palmita. Oh, there's a new Conrad Punta Mita, which obviously is going to be in Punta Mita. Here is a photograph of it. I don't know exactly who owns that chain or what the brand of the hotel is. And the second hotel that is going to open is a one and only Palmilla. The first hotel, the Conrad, is scheduled to open tomorrow, September 1st. And the other hotel is going to open on November 1st. It is good to see that the region is betting on increased tourism. There you go. My translating machine is not up to par just yet. It's early in the morning. Maybe I should have more coffee. Let's take a quick look at this. Oh, this is not refreshing. Let me try to refresh it again. But there you go. Now it is refreshing. No, I don't want any notifications. But in case you haven't signed up for Netflix just yet, please know that Netflix has now added a free section that includes, that requires no subscription. In this free section, you can find series like Stranger Things, Murder Mystery, Elite, The Two Popes, Our Planet, and of course, The Fabulous Grace and Frankie. Of course, I am a Netflix subscriber, but if you're not, then I encourage you to check this out. Now, the next fun headline that I have for you deserves a little bit of an introduction. This came to me from the wonderful Joey and Isaac of The Gay Guide. He shared with me the link of this gentleman whose name I cannot even pronounce. He was born in Mexico. He comes from a French family, and he was raised in the United States. And he has this TikTok page in which he, I was going to say the big F word. I'm just going to say the small one. He fracks around with language, and he is absolutely hysterical. And his name, again, is that. Loic? I don't know how to say that. But he dives into subtleties of French, Spanish, and other languages in short videos that are absolutely funny to watch. I'm going to leave his TikTok page. You can watch this from a web browser. I share this link with a friend of mine who must have been trying to open it from his cell phone. His cell phone was expecting him to have the TikTok application installed, and he didn't. But I have been looking at it on my website, on my browser, on my computer, so hopefully you'll be able to do the same thing. It's really funny, and as you know, we kind of get a kick out of language humor here at Coffee and Headlines, and we are happy to enjoy these kinds of things on Sunday Fun Day. And yesterday we had a huge crash course on Mexican mothers. If you missed it, the reruns are available online, as you know. A quick look at your last minute comments before we head on to our wonderful day. Thank you for that, Anne. And yes, it is worrisome to think about those people that are less guarded or ready to face natural disasters. we always keep our eyes open for that. And it's glad to see that there are still projects going on in town that are responsible for feeding those in need. I know. What's the matter, Luna? We're in the middle of a broadcast. Either join me or go sing somewhere else. Come here, Luna. Come on. Anyhow, it's great to see that there's still projects going on to help feed the needy. Thank you, Luna. So Luna decided to join us for a little while. Everybody say hi to Luna. Here she is. And back to me. Paul Chris, Hotel Mercurio continues to have their project to help feed the needy. If you have updates of other projects that are still going on so that we can help those that are more in need than we are, please let me know and we'll be happy to mention them here. Candace has 12 dogs and she has looking for people who are interested in adopting dogs. Thank you for that, Paul. I'm glad to know that Conrad is a Hilton brand. Elvin chimes in along the same. Oh, everybody knows about these brands. I am the only one who doesn't, but that's okay. Another one. Oh my God, where have I been? I'm not reading about hotels because I'm not planning to travel anywhere. Julie has kittens for adoption. I can be tempted, but not yet. Not yet. Too soon. Let's see. My thoughts on traveling. We are from Canada. In our town, the virus hasn't been bad. In our town, the virus hasn't been bad. Of course, we would wear masks and follow rules. Everybody's traveling, Tracy, and there are people here. What I say to folks when I get that question is, it really depends on what you're here to do. If you are a late night party goer and like to go to discos and like to go to places where restrictions are still in place, then you might not enjoy yourself as much. If you are coming down to visit and you're staying at your own home or a hotel or a condo, there's always going to be risk that is inherent to it. But then again, risk has been a part of our lives since the beginning of time. You could be walking down the street and a meteorite can land on your face or your toe, and you won't be able to walk anymore. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here, but the point is, I personally, I'm not making very big trips myself. I still feel funny about hopping on a plane, although I hear that people are hopping on a plane. The day I have to hop on a plane, I will probably hop on a plane. I'm almost ready to go to a movie theater. And I've been reading early reports of Tenet, the new movie by Nolan, and it's supposed to be doing super great. I watched the trailer for it, and that's probably going to be my first outing to the movie theater. So I think we're all taking small steps according to our comfort level, Tracy, and that's okay. And we should be allowed to, be in our comfort zone and not be shamed if we are risky, and not be chastised for being too conservative. I mean, it's different for everyone. But Tracy, know that if you feel comfortable traveling, rest assured, people around you here are going to take good care of you, because my experience in Vallarta is that for the most part, people are being responsible. And if people around you are not being as responsible as your comfort level requires, simply walk around them. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. Let's see. Ba-dum-bum-bim-bum-bum. Ronda has a shout out for Robin Spencer, who has been doing a wonderful job with her delivery service. With ANA, delivery groceries for the needy. That's just wonderful to hear. Thank you very much. Thank you for chiming in on that, Linda. It is one of the things that, when I said earlier in the broadcast, and do allow me a second of commentary, if I may. The news about COVID, the day-to-day news, how we carry on with our lives are becoming increasingly commonplace. I was going to say mundane, but I don't want to say mundane because I don't want to undermine the important responsibility we have for ourselves and our loved ones to continue looking after each other. To me, COVID is starting to feel like those parts in the world where it's sunny for 6 months and it's dark for 6 months. So you just know it's there and you have to learn to live with it. So, and I say that knowing that a dear friend of mine who's not even 35 passed away 3 days ago from COVID and dengue. So it's one of those things. We must continue with our lives as much as our comfort level allows us to. We must continue looking after ourselves and those around us. But the knowledge that something could go wrong is always going to be there. And it has everything to do with our own internal mindset as to how willing and able we are to deal with that and continue living however normal life we can. And that's just my own way of saying, take care of yourselves and take care of one another, and we're going to be fine. Hopefully, hopefully, I really do believe that. And with that said, I see any. Oh, I think. Can I share what future construction and development plans may be happening in the area between Conchas Chinas to Mismaloya? Let me be provocative and say, why is this important, Paulina, George? If you enlighten me, I can probably dive into that. If you're looking to find out whether there are new condo buying opportunities for you, that is one way to go about it. If you're looking to learn more about abusive developers that are taking advantage of the system to build buildings where they're not supposed to, that's another way to go about it. So if you can share with us, Paulina, why this is important to you, I'll be so very happy to try to find the proper angle for you and keep my eyes open on the proper headlines, because the headlines can be very different when it comes to development in this town. Great advice. Just take precautions and bring a mask. If you don't bring a mask, there are going to be plenty of places for you to buy masks. See, my latest acquisition, a handy dandy mask from Hotel Mercurio. Another Truman Show moment. Let's see. I love optimism. Sometimes I have cloudy, horrible, shitty days, but I think, Donna, that the more optimistic we try to be with one another, the better we're going to feel about the whole thing. Thank you very much, Kathleen. It is a friend of mine who was a fashion model for Paul's swimwear line. So we did a number of photo shoots together, and it was really, really wonderful to know him as a person. Question from Lisa. We're traveling to PV and staying Bucerias in September. Is Mexico asking for COVID-19 test results at the airport? No, they're not. But one of the things that I forgot to mention when I mentioned Interjet earlier, that they're increasing their routes, is Interjet is the first Mexican airline that is going to offer rapid testing as you board the plane, and they have N95 face masks. Completely unrelated to what you asked me, but you just reminded me to mention that important statement. So no, I don't think Mexico is asking for COVID-19 results at the airport. There are a number of places where you can get a test. I met with someone yesterday who is required to take an FDA-approved test upon reentry into the United States, but that is on the way back. Mexico does not have restrictions of any kind that I am aware of. And with that said, I think we've reached the end of today's broadcast. As always, I hope this has been helpful, useful, humorous, inspiring, or otherwise reassuring to you. This is what we try to do on weekdays, Monday through Saturday. Yesterday was fun. For those of you that missed our Sunday Fun Day, I had a good time with all the chroma key and all the silliness that we had. As always, you know that all the shows are archived both on Facebook, on YouTube, and also available on our website. And you can always go back to them if you find information there that is important to you. Of course, I want to not push the wrong button. I'm sorry, I pushed the headlines button and not the buy me a coffee button. I'm sorry about that. This is just a quick, humble reminder that coffee and headlines is a community-based project. We make this possible thanks to your contributions. So if you have learned something, if you've enjoyed yourself, if you think what we're creating here is of value to you or your community, please consider stopping by buymeacoffee.com/Ojeda Paco and consider either an ongoing subscription or just a couple of coffees. Couple of coffees help us go out there and make walking tours and interviews and all these wonderful things that ultimately help you stay connected with Puerto Vallarta. And that's our main goal here. Between now and the next time we get together, which will hopefully be soon, I wish you a great day. Please stay happy, stay calm, stay engaged, stay kind to your community and those around you. Stay cautious and, of course, stay in touch. Have a great day.